Hi, and thanks for coming to my channel. I am going to show you a design team project for Country Craft Creations. I used the paper collection called Fairy Whispers. It's by Blue Fern, and the tutorial is going to follow this walkthrough, but the tutorial will be using the Sweet Southern Mess paper collection by Country Craft Creations, and so it's going to have a totally different look and probably a totally different purpose. But I'll walk you through this one so you have an idea of what it looks like, and then we'll start the tutorial afterwards. So as you take a look at this, I have two silver corner pieces. I have some of the amber flat back beads. They look like this. These are from Country Craft Creations. They're the acrylic crystal droplets, and they come in different colors. This is the amber. The flowers are from my stash, but this is from the ephemera. The pearls and the applique in the back here are just random things I had. Same way with the ribbon. But I'll go ahead and show you a little bit closer. I had some gemstones that I stuck in there. This has a 1-inch binding or spine in the back. The paper is so pretty that there's very little decorating really, because it was kind of a busy paper, and so I didn't want to overdo it. When you untie it, it does flip up, and I was thinking that this area right here could be for pictures. And now I didn't want this to be all pictures. I wanted it to be for different things, so I thought if I had pictures here, this is actually a journal or a notepad. These are open. I didn't put anything to close them, but I'm thinking on the next one I'll probably use some sort of paper clip on the side. This comes down and it is a pocket, and I did put magnets on it. And I thought this could be for notes or stamps or whatever. Because like I said, this holds a notepad. So this is 3/4 inch deep. And I had a notepad already, and so I wanted to use it. Now it doesn't match the paper collection at all. So I put a piece of the paper on top, and I fussy cut some things and just put it on the side. But this notepad looks like this. It says, "Be a gold digger." So it didn't match, but it fit perfectly, and I want to use this for notes. You know, when I make orders and I forget what I've ordered, I can keep track of them, whether it's Country Craft Creations or any place else. And then that just tucks right in here. And I did have a couple mistakes as I went, so I have worked those kinks out. And so as we go on to do the Sweet Southern Mess, everything should be perfect. Again, this was Fairy Whispers by Blue Fern. So I'll move this to the side, and the paper collection that I'm going to use, like I said, is called Sweet Southern Mess. Now I had done some projects with it already, and I don't want this paper to go to waste because I love it. It's really bright and cheerful. So I don't think I have the cover page, but this is what I'm going to be using. And the purpose of this one, this little folio that I'm going to, oh, here's the front. There it is. The purpose for this one is probably going to be for to-do lists, for going to the store, storing receipts, that type of thing. So that's why I wanted a different look to it. So let me get this out of the way. I'm going to be using black artisan. Now on the inside, you saw on the other one I had a notebook, a notepad. What I do is I am always buying these pre-made books when they're on clearance. They're stitched and the paper's in there. This has a set of 3, and because I'm using black paper, I'm going to cover it with the paper line anyway, but I don't like making my own little booklets, so I'm just going to cover this. But this had been $11, and I got it, the 3 of them, for $2.50. So I load up whenever I see them on clearance. So that's what I'm going to use for the inside pocket. I'll go ahead and give you the measurements. This is a quick make, and I think it would be great for a gift also, especially if it's a last minute gift. Let's see, let me get all my papers organized here. There we go. Where'd my sticky note go? I lost a sticky note. Oh. What? I think that's just extra. Okay, so for the base of the folio, you're going to need a sheet that's 9 by 12. Let me see if I can get that better. That's going to be for the base, and the rest of the base, because it's not long enough, will be 5 by 9. All right, we will do some scoring on that, and I'll have you cut all your paper first. So you'll need 2 pieces that are 5 by 5. That's for those doors that were on the top. 5 by 5, 2 of them. You will need a piece that's 10 by 3. That's for the bottom pocket. And then it had a flap on top of it, so that is 9 by 3. 9 and 10 by 3. One of each of those. And the thick pocket that I'll store the books in is 11.5 by 4 3/4. Okay, so let's go ahead and do our scoring and get everything with the scoring taken care of. So place your 9 by 12 piece on your scoreboard, and we have a couple scores to make. We are going to score at 5 and at 11. Okay, 5 and 11 with the 12 inches across the top. The 5 by 9 piece, put the 5 inches across the top, and we are going to score at 1 inch. Okay, that's for the base. Go ahead and grab your 2 flaps that are 5 by 5. Score at 1/2, and I ended up, I think I corner rounded these. Yeah, I did. Score both of them at 1/2. The next one we're going to do, the 9 by 3, that is going to have the 3 inches across the top, and you can either score at 1/2 or you can score at 2.5. I'm going to go ahead and score at 2.5 just to make it a little bit easier to get to. And the 10 by 3, you can place the the 10 inches across the top, score at 1/2, rotate it once so that you have the 3 inches across the top, score at 1/2. Rotate it one more time so that the 10 inches is back along the top of your scoreboard, and score at 1/2, and that will be the pocket piece. And the last one to score is the 11.5 by 4 3/4. So I want you to score at, with the 11 excuse me, did I say 11 3/4? It's 11.5 by 4 3/4. So put the 11.5 inches across the top, and you're going to make a score at 1/2 and 1 1/4. Rotate it once. Same measurements, 1/2, 1 1/4. One more time you're going to rotate, and same measurements, 1/2 and 1 1/4. So that should be all the scoring of the pieces. This is going to come together quickly, which was the whole idea of making this project. I wanted something that would be easy, quick, and beautiful all at the same time. So let's go ahead and get your base pieces. And we're going to go ahead and burnish our score marks. I'll get my favorite burnishing tool here. So go ahead and score the 1 inch on the 5x9. Go ahead and burnish the long piece that was 9x12. And let's see here. Okay, I kept looking at this thinking, okay, something's not right. That's because there's another score mark on this large piece that was 9x12. I can't believe I forgot that. I was looking at it like, what? We scored at 5 and 11, but you need to score at 4, 5, and 11. Okay, that's going to make all the difference in the world. It was missing a spine, and I was like, that needs to be there. Okay, and I'll burnish that also. That makes sense. Now we're going to end up gluing the two 1-inch pieces together at the bottom, and just make sure that they line up nicely so that you don't have to trim anything off, but that's going to make it a little bit more sturdy. So I have my 4-inch, then there's a 1-inch piece, then a 6-inch piece, then a 1-inch piece here at the bottom. I'm going to take my 5x9 where I scored it at 1 inch, and I'm going to go ahead and glue that to the 1-inch piece from this base. So let me get my art glitter glue. And I will be somewhat generous with the glue. All right, so we're going to lay this down on top of that 1 inch. And it lines up perfectly. At least it did on mine. And go ahead and burnish that. And that is the base of our folio. How easy was that? Okay, I'm going to open it up. Let's go ahead and do the pocket down here at the bottom. So find the two pieces that measure 10x3 and 9x3. And because they're pockets, we're going to do some mitering. So this is the flap piece that only had 1/2 inch score. I'm going to miter that 1/2 inch, and then I'll burnish it. You can also round the corners on this one, and I probably will. I don't know if I did on the other one though. I don't think I did, but I would on. I'm going to on this one. Okay, so here's the pocket, and where you have the two score lines that intersected, you have a square. We're going to cut out the square, but we're going to slightly taper it on each side of the lines. So I just do a diagonal cut like so. And it took out that square, and then I'm going to miter at the top. Other side, same thing, miter at the top. I'm going to take out this square by cutting it at an angle. So you basically take off a triangle and it will look like that. Let's go ahead and burnish. Okay. Let's go ahead and work with the 5x5 flaps now. Burnish those on the 1/2 inch. I am going to taper or miter at the corners on that 1/2 inch piece. It's raining like crazy here. Did you hear that thunder? Holy moly, it's been raining since like 2 o'clock in the morning. It's insane. I need a boat. Okay, so those two are done. This is the corner rounder. Let's see, I just got one. What did I do with it? Huh. I don't know what I did with it. I just got a new corner rounder. Well, I'll use my old one for right now. So these are the flaps. I'm going to go ahead and corner round the top and the bottom. I feel like this one didn't, yeah. Okay, and I said I was going to miter, or excuse me, corner round the flap that's going to go on top of that bottom pocket. This was the 3x9 piece. I'm going to miter those. Not miter, I'm going to corner round. All right, there we go. All right, so let's go ahead and put that together so we don't have these loose pieces, and then we'll do that thick pocket. So with the Folio, let me measure for you to make sure you have it right. This down at the bottom is 4 inches. And this is, so it doesn't matter, they're equal, okay? So 4, 1, 6, 1, 4 is the measurements. So I'm going to take the pocket that we did on 3 sides. Always do a dry fit first to make sure that it is the right measurement on your paper. And that does look good. So I'm going to go ahead and place my glue. And I tuck in the 2 sides with my fingers and line up that bottom piece so that everything lines up, no overhang. And burnish. So this top piece is going to go next to the 1-inch spine, but you don't want to put it right on the score mark. You're going to bring it right in front of, or down right below that score mark, so that your book will still open and close without this getting in the way. And I'll show it up closer when I have it on. Bring it a little closer to me. Now I do use magnets on this to keep it closed. So I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but it's below that score mark, not on. It's real close to it, but it's not quite on it. Okay? And that's all I did on the bottom, was make that pocket. So being as I'm using Sweet Southern Mess, I'm thinking, okay, this is where I'll store coupons. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn my book around just because it's easier for me to work that way. And I'm going to put the 2 flaps on the top. Guess what? I adjusted my sizes and I forgot to adjust these flaps. Better too big than too small. They're 4 inches and I had you cut it 5 inches tall, so let's trim it to 4 inches instead for the height. Let's see if that did it. Should have. Yep, so now I'll just corner around that. Sorry about that, I forgot I adjusted the measurements a little bit. So the other one, again, we did it 5 inches tall. We want to do it 4 inches, so I'm going to trim off 1 inch from the top. And I'll have to corner around that one again. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead, I got to remiter this too. Sorry about that, you guys. So we'll place glue and put it right here on the side. We don't want it to pass the score mark here because we want the book to be able to fold nicely. So double check, do a dry fit. And when I did my dry fit, I felt like I just needed a hair trimmed off. So I'm going to try again and see what happens. And that looks good. Let me double check this one, dry fit. And I feel like I need a hair off this one. Because I want the book to open and close nicely with no puckering or buckling, whatever you want to call it. And that's much better. Okay, now I'm ready to glue. Line it up with the top and the side. That's good. I'll go ahead and open that up and burnish it too. And same thing on this side. Line it up with the side and the top. I'm going to turn it sideways. Okay, so we have the top and the bottom done as far as the paper construction goes. Now we're going to work with that dimensional pocket that goes in the center for our notebook. So that piece we already scored at 1/2 and 1 1/4 along all on 3 sides. So the cutting is a little bit different on this one. So I have my scores on the side and at the bottom as I'm looking at it. So this top part has no scoring. So I'm going to miter the 1/2 inch piece on the outside like so. And I'm going to do that on the other side also. Okay. So I'm looking at it, the short end towards me, and I need to cut out, I'm going to go straight on this score mark, or no, yeah, I'll go straight right here on that 1/2 inch, and I'm going to go straight on that one. I'm going to cut off the perimeter, so it's the rectangle at the bottom square, and then that side rectangle. So I'll bring it up close to the camera here in a second. Okay, so that's what I took out. Now I do want to slightly miter on the 1/2 inch side, or the 1/2 inch score. Okay, so I made it more to angle. Now we do need to release this square, so I am going to cut on the score mark, and that released it. But we do need to taper it so that it doesn't get in the way when we build our pocket. So I'm going to take a slight sliver off each side. Okay, so I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to cut straight on the score mark, a 1/2 inch score, straight up on that line. I take out the perimeter of the outer perimeter of that square. So the bottom, I'm going to take out this bottom rectangle, the corner square, and this side rectangle. Once I do that, I'm going to slightly miter that 1/2 inch on both sides, and I have a little bit of, I don't want anything hanging off there. Okay, and then I'm going to slightly miter this one too. Okay, now once again we need to release that square, so I'm going to cut up on the score mark, and then I slightly taper on each side so it will fold nicely with no puckering or okay. Let me get rid of my mess. So go ahead and burnish on your score marks. Where's my, there it is. Sorry, I lost track of what I was doing. All right, so everything is burnished. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. So we are going to fold this to make that 3/4 inch deep pocket. And so this tab is going to get glued to this 3/4 inch piece on the underneath side. So it's going to form a corner. I don't know if you can see that, but the tab is going to be glued to the inside. Okay, so I'm going to put some glue on the tab, and I'm going to bring it over and fold it so we have our 3/4 inch deep pocket. And I do want to hold that for a second to make sure it adheres well. You can put a clothespin on it if you want to. Okay, Boy, that thunder's loud. Okay, do the same thing on the other side. Put glue on the outside of the tab, and we're going to bring it underneath that side. And I'm going to tuck it under. And let me hold it for a second. So you can see then, to adhere it to our book, we're going to place glue on the 1/2 inch on the side, the bottom, and the other side, and it will sit on the book like so. Okay, now a lot of this you want to probably, you want to start doing your pattern paper now before you put this pocket in. So I'll be putting my paper on my pocket, then I will attach it to my book. So I'll cover this, and I go 1/8 of an inch shorter, and then I will show you how I glue that on. But the more you can put your pattern paper on before you do the cover and stuff, the better. So let me go ahead now. Let me just give you an example of what I do. So if this is a 9-inch pocket, I'm going to cut my paper 8 7/8. Because it is 3 1/2 inches tall, I would cut my paper 3 3/8. Because the side is 3/4, I'm going to cut a 5/8 inch piece, 2 of them, and then same way with the bottom, 5/8 by 8 7/8. So just take 1/8 of an inch off of each measurement. Okay, let me get the pocket done, and then we'll adhere it to our book. So I covered my pocket. And now it's time to adhere it to the middle section of our book. We have a 1-inch spine on the bottom and on the top of it. We don't want to go over any lines. So I'm actually going to move it up a little bit more than I did on the flap down here, because when I bring my book up and over, I don't want anything to get in the way. So I am going to bring it up just a little bit higher, because when you add pattern paper on your spine, that's also going to give it a little bit of thickness. So let me just see, I'll go ahead and put glue on my 1/2 inch sides. I'm going to stick a little glue underneath there. All right, so I'm going to turn this sideways. It's easier for me. And I'm going to lightly put this side down and make sure that it doesn't go over the side of the book or the folio. Okay. And I'll turn it over. I haven't pushed down very hard yet. Okay. So now we want to, I'm going to use my handy dandy spatula and put it along the inside to make sure that 1/2 inch, all those 1/2 inch pieces come down, lay down. So I'm going to take a look in there, and it looks flat. All right, so you don't want to forget the magnets and then accidentally cover it, and you don't want to forget the seam binding or the whatever kind of closure you're going to have. So we're going to do that next. I'm going to place a magnet. I used small ones on the other one, but I don't think I have any small ones left, so I hope my big ones aren't too big. Let's see. It'll be close, but I think it'll be okay. It's going to be real close. I wish I had some small ones. You know what? I have some old ones that I could use probably. Well, I'm going to try it. make it work. Okay, so these are the basic gray magnets from Country Craft Creations. I'm just going to use one set. So I have a positive and a negative. I'm going to put those two together. I'm going to take the backing off of one of the magnets. Oh, that is sticky. Okay. And I'm just going to set it here for a second and see where that ends up. Yep, that'll work. Okay. So I'm just going to push it down. I'm going to take the backing off of the other magnet that's set on top. That is very sticky. And then I'm going to push the flap down. And when I push down, it should stick. I am going to put a little bit of score tape across so it doesn't go anywhere. And I'll do the same thing on the top piece. Okay. And then you'll remove the backing before you put your pattern paper on. Okay. You have to decide if you want some sort of closure on the top. I am thinking that I might just put some sort of clothespins or something tiny off to the side for decoration, and that will kind of keep those flaps closed. You can put a magnet if you want. We also need to put our seam binding on so that we can tie it closed. So find the either the ribbon or whatever it is that you want to use. I'm going to take a look and see what I have in my stash. Alright, I'm trying to use up my old stuff. So I found this it's yellow, but it's real sheer, and so it's really easy to tie. And I'm going to find the center, well, 4.5 is the center of my top flap. So I'm going to put a piece of score tape down and center this at the 4.5 inch mark on the top flap. So let me open this up. I'll just lay it down here like so. Get my score tape. 1, 2, 3, 4, 4.5. Okay, I'm going to just tear off a piece of score tape. And this is the halfway mark. So I will go ahead and remove the backing of that. And place my ribbon. I'm going to center it on there. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and place another piece just to make sure it lays flat. I don't want it to go anywhere. Okay. So the other piece we want to bring from the bottom. So I'm actually going to put it on the back here because I want to make sure that I get a good tie, like it sticks real nice and doesn't get too loose. So I am going to turn it over with it closed and go to the back. And again, I'm going to put a piece of score tape at the 4.5 inch mark. Which is right here. I'm going to go ahead and put a little piece on the spine also, just so that it holds it real well. take off the backing. I'm going to center my ribbon. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and put an extra piece of score tape going across, just to make sure it doesn't go anywhere. All right, so now we have our magnet, we have our closures. The only other thing you need to decide is if you're going to do something with these flaps. I'm torn. I don't know. I think I'm just going to put some to the side. Okay, so now it's time for the fun part. We're going to go ahead and finish our matting with the pattern paper Sweet Southern Mess, and then I will take a look at these notebooks and put some of the Sweet Southern Mess on the front. I'm probably going to be able to fit 2 of these books inside the pocket, so I'm not going to put a whole lot of dimension or decoration on my paper. I'll just kind of play it by ear, but let me go ahead and mat this, and then I will come back and show you what it looks like. All right, this is the finished book of Home Sweet Home. It was, remember, the same version as this, just using different paper. So 2 totally different looks. Okay, I'll just show you the inside of this real quick. Alright, so I left this open so you could tuck something. Just put some, this white paper has texture, it has an embossed feel to it. And then down here we have the pocket. Put a little button here to make it easier to lift up. Now on the inside I put 2 of the notebooks, and I didn't fully cover them because the black looked good with it, so I just did some paper piecing on the front here. This one says lists and this one says to do, and I would just tuck both of those inside of here. And that's that. I'll show you the back here. It's just a kind of a copy of the front too. But they both, I think, turned out cute. Well, one's cute, one's classy. So there's the front and there's the back. All right. So you can get both of these paper collections at Country Craft Creations, Home Sweet Home and Fairy Whispers. All right, thank you for watching, and subscribe if you haven't already, and check out countrycraftcreations.com. Thanks.